What's up, Thumpers? Welcome to another episode of Hyper Heroes here on Hyper RPG. Hitting you with some superhero bullshit. Get ready.
Hector, do you do this for a living?
No,
oh
I don't.
my God.
But first,
you're really good.
Adam Hlavik has a very special announcement.
Oh, I think I can do the whole thing.
No, because I'm setting you up. I'm setting you up for you to spike it.
He's the hype man. He's the hype man.
We have something very exciting to share with you, and when we talk about it, I want you to understand the potential of what it could mean for the three of us, Hyper Homies, you sharing and reveling in some awesome, awesome stuff, including reading comic books together, watching movies together, doing some recaps of movie franchises before the big next installment comes out this summer. I'm talking Hobbs and Shaw or other stuff.
John Wick, baby.
John Wick. It's about the potentiality of our relationship. Okay, that's what I'm talking to you about.
We got to think about space.
About the potentiality. The doctor said I need a backiotomy. Okay, that's what he said.
I'm talking space.
Oh, Lord. All right. So Adam's going to tell you about the thing we just launched, relaunched last week, the Patreon.
Yeah, baby. Super excited about the Patreon. Like Hector was saying, there's so much potential to take everything that we do here to the next level, and we can do all that with your support. If you go to patreon.com/hyperrpg, we've got everything from a $2 tier to a $250 tier. We've got so many Hyper Homies in there. Yep. We've got what's the one half of a?
We got some. Well, we're actually getting one at the end of the show today.
We're getting
a couple. So I'm saving that one.
Oh, okay.
I'm saving that one for the end.
The other potential is reading Invincible.
Right, starting the Invincible.
One of our goals on Patreon is doing an Invincible podcast. Super excited. I cannot wait. These guys have hyped that comic book series up to me.
It's just the greatest
like no
series
other.
of all time.
Oh, dude, I'm so
that's all it
excited.
is. I mean, that's really all it is.
And hopefully we'll be able to do it right before the show rolls into Amazon.
That's true.
So then we can just go right into reviewing the show because it'll be so
roll
fun.
it on in.
Obviously, also movie commentaries, things that we'd love to do. We'd love to just sit and watch movies and talk about them. We did the Hobbs and Shaw trailer reaction. We talked about how you're setting up an outdoor theater.
Yep.
Maybe we could do that as a Patreon special where we do all the audio commentaries for the Fast and the Furious movies. You have not seen any of them.
Yep.
There's so much fun stuff that we could do. The only way to make it possible is through Patreon. Patreon is what's going to keep this whole thing going. So if you enjoy our trailer reactions, our reviews, these episodes every single week, jump over there, take a look at what we have to offer. I think there's a lot of fun stuff. Potentiality.
That's what
it's all about, baby.
Talk about space, homie.
That's right.
I also want the hyper heroes of space. I just want to say thank you to the people who have joined because we started this last week, right?
Yes.
We got like 20 some odd.
There's been quite a few. I've lost count of how many, but there's quite a few people. A lot of people have really been enjoying the Bonjoro tier, sending out personal messages to people. So thank you everybody who has joined. The amount of feedback that we've gotten has been incredible. You know, at the $5 tier, the Hyper Homies tier, you guys can submit questions that we can feature on the show. We've got quite a few in this week's episode. We had some last episode. So it's been really fun engaging with everybody. Everyone on there has been super, super cool, super kind. You get Discord access. There's just so much stuff. And on top of that, we're always willing to hear suggestions from you guys. We want the feedback because we want the tiers to reflect not only things that we want to give you and the things that we want to do, but we also want you to get value out of it. And so the Patreon is going to be a thing that's always going to be evolving and changing based on your feedback. And it's going to change based on the things that we want to do also. Like there's new stuff that we may end up wanting to do. We've been talking about doing a 3D podcast.
Yes, a podcast about 3D movies.
But also maybe a smaller enticement. We just shot a super dope.
Oh, my God.
Super dope video about our Endgame recap.
Yeah. Look, if you watched our video last year, it was called Journey to Avengers Infinity War. It was a 2-hour recap of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe leading up into that movie.
This year.
It's
the pre-snap recap.
That's right, baby.
Pre-snap recap.
Name coined by Mr. Keller Knobloch.
That's right.
Thank you, Keller.
Keller's the best.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe pre-snap recap.
It's almost
2
hours of goodness.
Yeah.
We're going to be hosting that on the Patreon first.
Exactly.
For early access.
Then it'll roll out live to everybody else.
Closer to the.
If you want to get in on it early, jump over to Patreon. Trust me, it'll be worth it. It'll be fun.
I dropped some predictions that blow these guys' minds.
Dude, seriously.
It blew something else.
Blew my mind.
No
I was
joke.
Like, that was fun. No exaggeration. It's maybe my favorite thing the three of us have ever done together.
It's fun.
Whatever. It's going to be on
so much fun.
Whatever. You can watch it if you want. Whenever.
Just whatever.
Watch it for free later, or if you're a real fan, whatever. Watch it on Patreon. Whatever. Do whatever.
You're a real hyper homie. Get in there right now. You can watch it right now.
Do whatever you want.
But I mean seriously, the Patreon is super, super important to the livelihood of everything that we do here, because despite what a lot of people think, YouTube money is there. It's not as much as you guys all want to think.
No.
Regardless of how many subscribers we have, Patreon is something that we can actually look at and have a definite idea of what's coming in, how we can use that towards all the other videos that we want to make.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot more of a stable way of bringing in some help from you guys.
Right,
and if you guys love this content, you want to support it, by all means, that's what the Patreon is there for.
Yep.
With that out of the way,
I think Malika told us to mention Mies Chonies as well.
Yeah, your favorite.
My favorite Mies Chonies. I went to this, right? Dude. I went to the store 2 days ago to see if they would accept me as a guest designer. Apparently, they don't design stuff in the stores. I didn't know that, so I just took some pictures with some butts.
Good butts?
Between some butts, yeah.
Nice,
it was a guy butt and a girl butt.
Just between some cheeks, huh?
Yeah, just some sweet cheek love, just all around my face. But yeah, I really like the underwear that they had there. Actually, I got to feel it for the first time because I had never felt any.
Yeah.
And I understand what the material is all about. I can understand how that could really enhance the crotchal region.
just kind of carry it all.
Support,
optical
carry, and wick. Ooh. Wick, sweat, and stank.
Just
away.
run off.
Yeah, just.
John Wick, Chapter 2.
Just like that.
Parabellum. Pair of
balls.
Yes,
pair of balls.
exactly.
That's right.
So, they're nice underwear.
Guys, if you go to meandies.com/hyperrpg, you can get 15% off your first purchase. Links, as always, down below in the description. Cup those balls real good. You know what I mean, boys?
Cup them.
Ladies, just enjoy them.
Yeah.
Just enjoy them.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say about that. Also, if you're on the podcast, jump over to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/hyperrpg. Subscribe. Leave a like on this video. Leave a comment about all things that we're going to talk about in the show. A lot of cool stuff. If you are watching the video, you can take us on the go. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, all that good stuff. Wherever podcasts are sold, you will likely find us. Just search Hyper Heroes. And if it's not on there, you can leave a comment and complain. And I promise I will get it on there as soon as I can.
Okay.
We also did some trailer reactions, so you should check those out.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious Presents, Hobbs and Shaw, and Dark Phoenix. A lot of thoughts on those.
Yeah.
And we're going to be going to see Avengers Endgame.
Oh, God.
Tuesday night at 8.
Why did you remind me?
At 8 p.m.
I'm not ready.
And yes, I'm bringing Pooch.
Oh, yes.
Justice for Pooch. He'll be there.
PJs on PJs, baby.
That's right.
Man,
so it's going to be really exciting. We have no idea what the embargo is going to be, so we have no idea when we can release a review. We're not going to be out there till 11, so we probably won't film one that night.
Yeah.
But we will film one and post it as soon as we can, as soon as we are allowed to.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we want you guys to experience it. So regardless of the fact if we put out a review, I think you guys should just hold and watch the movie first on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then come back and watch our review.
Yeah.
Do yourself that justice and preserve the movie-going experience for yourself.
Okay.
Let's get into
out of the way.
Let's get into some topics, baby.
Let's do it.
This was a very interesting topic happening at the beginning of the week. We got our first look at Swamp Thing, DC Swamp Thing. But prior to that happening, we got an unexpected announcement that Swamp Thing had shut down production. Now, they were originally slated to do 13 episodes in their first season, which was set to debut on May 31st. It still is coming out on May 31st. I know that some people were confused. They had thought that the show had shut down and that it was not coming out. The show is still coming out on May 31st. They're still going to debut. The 10 episodes that they shot. There was some chatter online that some of it had to do with creative differences, and out of that came a whole conversation of whether or not DC Universe was going to continue, the state of that whole streaming platform. But there was a follow-up article by Slash Film that said, we reached out to our friends at Warner Brothers at DC. Whatever's happening with the Swamp Thing show, it going from 13 to 10 episodes has nothing to do with DC Universe. That platform is overperforming. It's doing really, really well. You and I were just in an event a few weeks ago.
Yes.
They showed us stuff from Swamp Thing. It looked really, really dope. Obviously, Stargirl is still coming out. They're doing a Harley Quinn show. We're going to get another season of Titans. So
I think
half
of Young Justice in a couple of months.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that whole thing about DC Universe and the state of that was blown out of proportion. And yes, Warner Brothers is doing their own streaming service. Could at some point in the future DC Universe get absorbed into that? Absolutely. But I think right now, DC Universe is going to continue chugging along and doing what it's been doing. We're going to get Swamp Thing, 10 episodes, and then we're going to get some stuff after that. So I'm still really excited about what's going to come out of this show, what's going to come out of the streaming platform. They just added, I think, like 3,000 to 4,000 new comic books. They're adding content all the time. You know, they announced a few weeks ago that they're going to be restoring the original Batman movies, the Burton and Schumacher movies, into 4K.
Ooh. Are those going to live on there?
I would imagine that they're probably going to do the brand new remasters on there.
Because they just did Shazam, the old TV show.
From 1970s.
Remastered,
yeah.
which is a great
so
remaster.
I think DC Universe, even though it's a very niche platform, we talked about in the last episode how Disney Plus and Netflix and DC Universe, how they're all different. This is more like a Criterion sort of service. It's very niche. It's for a particular it's for a particular type of fan.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what's great about it. I think that this streaming service has potential to live for a very, very long time because DC Comics is such a legacy brand. They have so many characters, so many stories. I don't know. What do you guys think about this whole thing?
Well,
There's so much going on.
I want to get your thoughts on the Swamp Thing teaser because I thought that it looked dope. It's a super quick little thing.
Very short,
practical
I haven't seen it yet.
We can pull it up.
Ooh,
You can,
let's
pull watch it. We can watch it silently. Or even with sound, we can watch it with audio.
There's not a lot of sound anyway.
We could do a tiny little
Let's do that because it's super short. So let's do that real quick.
43 seconds.
Here we go. Yeah, basically. Just a teaser.
It almost feels like Thriller at this point.
Yeah. Because this is Swamp Thing.
Nice. Okay.
Dude in a costume.
Yeah. Great practical suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that impressed me. I expected sort of CG stuff or whatever.
Right,
you actually saw the panel that happened, the live event, so you saw more footage?
I did, but none of the footage that I saw had Swamp Thing in it.
Gotcha,
it was very much set around the swamp and sort of setting up the tone of the show. A lot of body horror, which I thought looked really, really cool. And yeah, they did say that a lot of it was going to be practical, which is why they cast 2 different actors as Alec and Swamp Thing.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
The actor playing Swamp Thing is Derek Mears, who played Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th, the 2009 remake. He's also actually been here at Hyper because he's a part of an action improv team. And they came here and they did an action improv for one of our hyperdrives. So when this series comes out, I'd love to get Derek.
Jason Voorhees has been in the building?
Oh, yeah, man.
Oh, my God.
We got to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, we got to get the fuck out.
Fuck out. It's Jason. Jesus Christ, it's Jason Voorhees.
Jason Voorhees.
But yeah, I'd love to try to get Derek on the show and talk
dope.
about the experience of playing Swamp Thing.
So full disclosure, right? I have a job on DC Universe. I'm one of the hosts of DC Daily. When this stuff was happening, I was asking my bosses, and I want to say this, but I want to get your guys' opinion on the Swamp Thing show, especially you, Augie. But before we do that, just for my own thing, I am in no way, shape, or form any kind of official anything. My views are my own. Nothing. None of that. If there's nothing coming officially from Warner Brothers, check out that Slash Film article. I like a lot of people over at Slash Film. They're great. I like that site. But my own thing was like when this was happening, you were the first person to point it out to me too. We were like, hey, the same thing happened with Titans, the show Titans.
Right.
When I talked to my bosses, like, hey, what's going on? They kind of assured me, they're like, yeah, this isn't. They're like, this happened because of creative stuff. Again, has nothing to do with any kind of trouble or rejiggering or rethinking the platform. Then again, I know that I have a job on that platform, and it's one of those things where like, if you were to lose your job, then sometimes you go up and ask, hey, am I going to lose my job? They're not going to tell you, man, yeah. I get that. But, again, everything that I have been experiencing and seeing and the way that they're reporting my bosses and their bosses about all that stuff, they're all super happy with DC Universe, the platform. So that was sort of my whole thing was like I felt like this is only me speaking. May have been a little bit of a slow news day. I know that the news coming from the Disney Plus launch was hype to the next level. Everybody, myself included, is super stoked about it, and I'm sure that coupled with Swamp Thing's going to go from 13 to 10 made some people, when they're writing up these articles and grabbing the news from the local news that reported like, hey, this show is changing production, to go, are they in trouble? Like Disney Plus is going to start knocking these out. They're going to compete with Netflix, but where does that leave this? Where does that leave that? I get that feeling, but that's just my opinion that I felt like it was a little bit of a slow news day, so other sort of outlets were picking up on that when really the news literally was just 13 episodes to 10.
Right.
And the same thing happened with Titan. And again, that's not any kind of an indication on the quality of the show. Could be bad,
Titans
could be
great.
good, could be like Swamp Thing, could be, we don't know yet. I have no idea.
Control great.
So that's just my whole thing, full disclosure. But Augustine, what did you think of that?
I thought that was great, actually. It gave me, like you were saying, kind of like old school horror vibes, which is why I immediately thought Thriller. I was like, oh, cool. Like I'd be cool with a little bit of that cheese, a little bit of the old school 80s type horror kind of thing.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing is a character that I'm not super duper familiar with.
Same.
And so I'm really excited to give this one a shot because I feel like this one, when I first saw the first trailer for Titans, the fuck Batman line was the most off-putting thing. And immediately that just kind of put me off of it. But it ended up being a great show. This one feels like that old school horror kind of genre that I'm really into, almost even like Stranger Things-ish, which kind of encompasses a lot. But I'm willing to give this one a shot, actually. And I hope, shows run into production issues all the time.
Yeah, right.
Movies.
Like it's not a huge deal, and I'm guessing it's just a slow news day, and somebody was like, well, I need to write a 1,000-word article today, so here we go.
Yeah.
Here's Swamp Thing's about to shut down DC Access or whatever.
Yeah, DC Universe, yeah.
DC Universe.
The other thing I liked at the panel that I got to go to, Len Weissman was there, who directed the pilot. I'm not sure if he directed any more episodes other than the pilot, but he did direct the pilot, and they built the entire swamp as a giant set on a soundstage.
Nice.
And they intercut it between a set, and also they went on location. And they talked about how for a lot of the swamps they had to have divers go in to like get gators out and all this stuff. And they had to put fences into like underwater, like into the ground,
so the gators wouldn't come back.
The gators wouldn't get in. I'm like, that is stressful.
What if they missed a gator, like the big one?
I know, man.
Even a little one. I'm not even trying to mess with.
I'm not trying to fuck with a 3-foot gator. Let alone a 12-foot one.
Remember, those were always the trickiest ones in Donkey Kong.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, the little ones. Those were the hardest ones to hit.
But from the stuff that I saw plus this, I really like the tone. I think Swamp Thing, I've seen old episodes of the original Swamp Thing. It had a few movies in the 80s and stuff. It's like very sort of just like, it's like this creepy body horror gore thriller-esque type of property. I like the fact that they decided they were going to do this as a DC Universe original series.
Right.
Like, I think this is what you use the platform for.
Yeah.
Do I think it could have done really well as a movie? Totally.
Sure.
I think if it would have been,
same
all
with
the marketing.
Titans, same with Doom Patrol.
Yeah, totally.
I think those are worthy of 2-hour movies. Yeah. Big budget, but I am really
giving them a chance on the platform is great.
Doing with the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things about Doom Patrol as well.
Dude, Doom Patrol, the first 5 minutes, I was like, hello, Brendan Fraser. I've missed you. It's good to have you back, pal.
He's pretty great. He gets better in the show.
So, and there was one actor from the show who sort of Instagrammed their thoughts about the show, suddenly ending production, going to 10 episodes. I think
it's taken down.
Yeah.
And then,
it's always one of those things that, like, of course, if you're on the set and on a Tuesday night or whatever they said it was, someone comes to you and it's like, hey, we're shutting production down. The show is ending.
Oh, hey, did you think we have 3 more months of work? It's 3 weeks.
It's actually
3
hours.
Whatever.
Get your shit and get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. So I totally understand the reaction being an actor and being on set, not having the full context of what's happening. But then hopefully you would think that the producers and stuff would get people in the room and explain, like, look, we did the same thing with Titans. We feel like we're going to make a tighter show.
And we don't have the full context.
No, we
don't.
Exactly. We don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So regardless of that, we're still going to get Stargirl and we're going to get Harley Quinn. The show's still coming out May 31st. At the end of the day, I'm still just looking forward to watching this and see what they do with it. It's a new corner of the DC universe. We can slowly go from this into things like Dark Justice or Justice League Dark, and just continue to further explore the darker realm of the DC universe.
Animal Man.
Yeah, and I think there's just so much potential on DC universe for all this stuff. So if you were worried about this show or anything else, I think it's all good until it comes directly from DC or Warner Brothers.
Absolutely.
So.
I still have a job until I don't.
That's right.
That's how you should take all news, actually. Just wait until the official statement happens.
Exactly. Speaking of waiting for official news and official statement, Variety did put out a report that John Cena may be joining the Suicide Squad, James Gunn's Suicide Squad. The rumor is right now, this came from Justin Kroll, who's a Variety reporter, who, for the most part, everything that I've read from him, it's always ended up becoming a fact once the deals are all signed and closed.
Okay.
So I really rely, or I think he does a really good job reporting stuff that doesn't just end up being fake news.
But it still might change.
It's still good. It's still totally good. I think they also did report that Dave Bautista was going to be joining this film as well. He did tweet a follow-up saying that the role that John Cena is potentially going to play, Peacemaker, that was the role that Dave Bautista was going to potentially play. But his schedule is too busy and crazy. He can't do it. So that's unfortunate. I would have loved to have seen Bautista and John Cena in the same movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy shit. That would have been
like a James Gunn movie?
Oh, my God. Can you imagine if they did end up doing Black Adam as like the villain? The Rock, John Cena, and Dave Bautista. My God. Even as someone who like never watched wrestling, I'm like, this would give me a bony.
That's what I'm saying.
My God.
Throw me a bony because I agree.
Holy moly, bony.
I don't watch wrestling whatsoever, but I'm excited. Like when you start hearing these kind of names, I'm like, okay. My turning point for John Cena was watching the movie Blockers.
Dude, great movie.
That movie is
I bought it.
Amazing.
It's so funny.
It's such
so
a good
funny.
movie.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize he had that kind of range.
Yep.
And then when we saw him at the panel for Bumblebee, I was like, this guy's
energy.
amazing.
Yep.
And then knowing that he has the most fulfilled Make-A-Wishes from Make-A-Wish donation or foundation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, who is this guy?
I
Like,
know,
what?
man.
This guy's just coming out of the blue, just knocking it out in real life and on the screen.
Totally.
I'm really excited for this news.
Yeah, and I think it's so impressive if you look at The Rock, Batista, and John Cena, and to see how their careers outside of wrestling in film, what directions they're going in. Because I think The Rock has really established himself, and he's doing his thing, and he's doing drama, but a lot of like comedy, and he's also completely involving himself in so many different productions. Where Dave Batista, he started out at like completely blew me away as Drax, being serious but also comical in one role because he's very literal, played that beautifully, and then all the supporting roles he's had in not so much Spectre because his character didn't really say or do a whole lot, but man, the first 5 minutes of Blade Runner 2049 just blew me away with the dramatic performance that he gave. So I just love seeing athletes who, especially wrestling, because wrestling is such a different sport compared to, soccer and football and all that sort of stuff. Like, you are performing. It is a theatrical sport. And to see these athletes transition into the acting world so incredibly well, and it doesn't happen with all of them. Like, it doesn't happen with all of them.
There was a report that John Oliver put out about, I don't know if you guys have seen it, the one about the wrestlers, though. Yeah.
No, I haven't.
And how badly wrestlers have to punish themselves.
Yeah.
There's, like, no retirement plans, and, like, after they're done, they're basically shunned, and, like, it sucks. They have to start GoFundMes for, like, their surgeries and stuff because their bodies never age well. So it's rough for them, and I don't want to ignore that fact as well, that other wrestlers don't always get this route. But it's good to see that these people are able to do this way. Like, there's an avenue for people, and I know 90% of it is luck as well. Like, we know from this industry that luck is as much of a part of hard work and skill as well. But I'm just glad to see people like John Cena making a difference. The Rock Rock has so much influence that his new movie Hobbs and Shaw has a gang of Samoan dudes beating people up. I'm just like, Rock. Yes, that's the kind of influence we need to have, Yeah. So it's good to see those stories coming out of such an industry that doesn't historically treat their people well. So I really, really like this news.
Yeah, and on top of that, like, they have an opportunity to give other current or former wrestlers roles in movies as well. Like, one of my favorite movies I saw this year was Fighting with My Family. The movie about Paige the wrestler, sort of like a biography about her coming into wrestling and all that sort of stuff. I loved that movie, and I hope it brings more awareness to her as a performer, and maybe she gets opportunities in future movies. Like, I mean, Gina Carano, MMA. Like, there's so many opportunities.
Ronda Rousey's now wrestling.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so
it's crazy. Dude.
I love seeing that though, because I think they're so entertaining, and I think for years they didn't get the credit that they deserve. And I think now that we're all sort of more aware of wrestling and all that sort of stuff, like, I don't watch it, but when I see clips of it, I watch the clip. Like, I'm engaged in it. It's fun to watch. So it's just really cool to see that these actors will have these opportunities in superhero movies. Right. Because now they're such big properties, and there's so many opportunies for them to play so many different sort of eccentric characters.
They're already built like superheroes. You might as well put them in these roles.
Exactly.
Agree.
And obviously, Margot Robbie will be coming back as Harley Quinn, and then there was an interview with Jai Courtney, who did confirm that he will be coming back as Boomerang, and then Idris Elba. And I don't know if we actually talked about this in a previous episode.
We haven't. I don't think.
I know we talked. I know we talked about him joining Suicide Squad, but I think when we had talked about it, he was going to be playing Deadshot.
Oh,
Will
wait,
Smith's
I think we
character.
did talk about this. Yeah,
but we didn't talk about the update that came out that said that he will not be playing the character. They want to leave it open for Will Smith to potentially come back in the future.
Calling it right now. He's going to be Black Superman.
Yes,
you love that.
No. He's just going to be Superman. He's just going to be Superman. Yeah, exactly. He's just going to be. But
people will be like, "Wasn't this guy?"
Yeah, he was Black Superman over there, but he's just regular Superman here. So
Yeah, cool.
Do you guys know anything about the character Peacemaker?
I do actually. I know that he was a. God, I'm gonna say it wrong. It's not Charleston. It was like Charlton.
I'll Google it. I'll give it a Google.
Character who, along with The Question, Blue Beetle, maybe Phantom Lady. I'm trying to remember the other one. That can't be right. And Captain Atom were characters from another comic book company. They were purchased by DC, like merged into it, and were the inspiration for Watchmen. They were Peacemaker specifically was the inspiration for the comedian. He was a guy who loved peace so much, the Peacemaker character, that he had to go and become a proficient marksman killer to like get things done to be able to uphold the ideas of peace. The same way that the Question inspired Rorschach and Captain Atom inspired Dr. Manhattan.
Is this the guy that inspired Judge Dredd too? Because they look almost exactly the same
similar.
with the crazy helmet and the
right there, right there. That's the old Peacemaker right there. This one here, and then this one. I don't know if he ever appeared in any animated thing.
That looks like
Orion a little bit, but that's what he looked like. And then,
by the way, it's smooth holding my hand like that. Hector.
Thank you very much. And then, so Alan Moore wanted to use those characters. He wanted to use those characters and kind of tell the Watchmen type story and be like, I really want to mess them up. And DC was like, actually, yeah, we might end up using them, Blue Beetle and whatnot. Can you do your own thing? And then we got the Watchmen characters. So that's all I really know about Peacemaker.
Okay.
But it seems like a role that a John Cena or a Dave Bautista would be really perfect at playing. I also like that Idris Elba's not playing Deadshot, even though I didn't love Suicide Squad. It's like, what a great cast. Why, you have such a great cast playing those characters. Why recast or break off that potentiality? Talking about the potentiality of this.
Talk about space.
I would love Elba to play Manchester Black, who traditionally is a white character, British character, but he's played by a black actor in Supergirl. Currently, and it would allow Idris to do his accent, and he has really, really powerful, like sort of telekinetic abilities and stuff that I think would fit in a Suicide Squad type thing. And Manchester Black's a character in the comics at one point was on the Suicide Squad, versus bringing in some other DC character where it's like, well, they've never been on the Suicide Squad. Who cares? Put him on there. Or having him be even now I take this back. A lot of people want him to be Bronze Tiger, who's like a master martial artist. And I'm going, you know what? Idris is great. I don't know if he's quite up there. But then I saw the Hobbs and Shaw.
Take it back.
And I'm like, you know what? Take that back.
Take it all back.
He could be Bronze Tiger.
He could be whoever he wants.
He really can. I'm a huge fan of that actor. And I'm really looking forward to the Suicide Squad. Maybe add a colon and another title in there at some point. I wouldn't mind that either. Like,
just so there's no confusion.
Just something. Because the is like, I don't know. Watch. I say this now, but I bet you in a couple of years, Marvel's going to announce the MCU is going to be like, the Fantastic Four is coming. All right, guys, come on. The X-Men.
You can't just add the and not call them sequels anymore.
I bet you they'll call it the Uncanny X-Men. I bet.
I hope so.
Probably.
But the problem is the Fantastic Four already has the adjective, the Fantastic Four. Like, I don't know what they're going to call it. Future Foundation? I don't know what they're going to call it.
I don't know.
The First Family? I don't know. We'll see.
Are you looking forward to the new Suicide Squad?
After James Gunn was announced, yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
And after they said it's going to be sort of like a soft reboot kind of situation, I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
I dig it.
It's so weird to me because they're like, it's a soft reboot. I'm like, yeah, but it's a reboot in the sense of like
people use that term too loosely.
All
it means is it's a new director and a new writer.
Yeah,
that's it.
exactly.
That's just the second entry in the anthology of the Suicide Squad series.
Right.
That's it.
Right. But I feel like the creative team has switched so much.
Yeah, they
that
need
I'm
to be
looking
like,
forward.
oh, it's a reboot. Like, no, it's not.
Reboot
would be like, no Margot Robbie, no Jai Courtney. Not the same universe.
Mary Poppins Returns is a soft reboot to Mary Poppins. Why? Because it's a different actor, and they shot it 50 years later. It's technically part two. Like, it's a movie that takes place after the events of the first one.
Yeah.
But you can't do a digital Julie Andrews. Like, it's not. So you're going to have
a new actress,
Emily Blunt play her. So it is a soft reboot, but it's not. It's a part two and whatever.
Yeah, technically, yeah. But I'm looking forward to it, especially since James Gunn is gathering all this talent towards him.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm good. I'm
so good.
Yeah.
So good. We're gonna watch a couple trailers.
Okay.
The first trailer we're gonna watch is Krypton Season 2. I really dug. I didn't get to finish the entire season, but of all the episodes that I saw, I really, really dug the show. I was really impressed to see the designs of a lot of characters.
Yeah.
Bless you.
This is also going to spoil season 1. So here we go.
That's fine.
That's
fine.
I'd rather watch it this way.
It's a very interesting show.
My fellow Kryptonians, 6 months ago, we came together.
I wish I could talk like that.
To face the dawn of a new era.
This guy's got a great voice.
Wow.
To rebuild a Krypton unrecognizable in its perfection.
Whatever game you're playing, you will lose. Zod's taking control of the planet. He's trying to conquer the galaxy. Val's leading a rebellion.
That bastard has stolen our better tomorrow.
We're stealing it back!
And I believe that you're the only one that can make that right.
You didn't really think it would be that easy,
Oof.
did you?
If we have to, we will finish a rebellion with force.
It's time for this madness to end!
There he is.
That a doomsday.
You think you are the Man of Steel.
Who will kneel? Good. Is he in the Phantom Zone?
It might be, yeah.
I think he's in the Phantom Zone.
This looks like it could be the Phantom Zone.
Name's Lobo!
Oh, yeah, boy. He's really going to try to punch
Please
Brainiac.
stop, you're making me blush.
Nice. That's
All right.
Lobo.
My only critique is
The
I kind
voice?
of miss that American accent on
Yeah.
Lobo,
Oh.
the main man.
Yeah.
So it's a very like Irish or Scottish. You're making me blush, which is fun. It's a new take, and this is a show that is done in the UK, and there's a lot of amazing actors from the United Kingdom there. They're great, but I do like that very like. I'm just used to Brad Garrett as the voice of
Yeah.
Lobo in
Right,
Superman
right.
the animated series,
Yeah.
like the main man, frag it, like that kind of biker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sort of
like the
attitude.
I think to
biker,
me it's more the
yeah.
tone of the voice.
Yeah.
Right.
To me, it's like that gruffness, too. That
Yeah.
gruffness needs to be there. And honestly, I kind of wish they had gotten somebody bigger, but not even necessarily like fit, but like
Yeah.
a little bit more husky, like a little bit
Husky.
chubbier. You know,
Instead of,
because
like, slim down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. because
he's
he's
a
a
big dude. He's
giant
a
guy.
beer-drinking guy.
Lobo means wolf in Spanish. Like
Yeah.
you want a big, intimidating wolf guy. And this
Yeah.
guy is a little small, but I'm not gonna rag on it because
It's interesting because Krypton, it is a great show, and I think that it lives in a very interesting space of like it's going to get a lot of the comic book heads to go
Right,
check it out, all
right.
the superhero heads,
Right.
but because it's not really that, it lives in a very Game of Thrones space.
Right.
I call it the Game of Thrones effect, for better or worse. I think it's a show that's definitely trying to recapture some of this very political intrigue of all of these wonderful British people talking about, you are rankless.
Very
How
Downton
dare
Abbey.
you? You know,
Very the
swirling,
Queen.
but there's just no wine. But
Yeah.
they're all, just like,
it's blood
to win the
it's
game
in somebody's
of-
skull.
Yes, to win the game of Krypton, you must,
Drink this blood.
But it's a wonderful cast. I love the actor that plays Seg-el. That dude is
Cameron
awesome.
Cuff,
Cameron
yeah.
Cuff is great. He tweeted today.
Yep.
Today
Superman's-
is the 81st anniversary of Action Comics number
Number
one.
one, yeah.
Oh, wow.
1938, the first appearance of
81st.
Superman. And he said, this is what I love about, he's on the show
He's such a
Krypton.
fan.
He's promoting
Holy
Krypton,
crap.
but he talks about how much he's loved Superman his whole life. But he said in this message, go to your local comic book store, go get a comic book. Go get a Superman comic book. Like, I love that he said, go get comics. Because he's on
Yeah.
sci-fi. He's an actor. You know what I mean? He's an actor.
He could say whatever. He could
Good-looking
not say
guy.
that,
He
yeah.
could be like, hey, the anniversary of Superman. Don't miss Krypton. He said,
Yeah.
go to a comic book store, get comics.
Get some comic books.
So he's a good
I
dude.
dig
So
it.
if you haven't seen it, like they say right there, season 1 available on DC Universe. It's very interesting. It's very like wine swirly type of a show. But there's some rad comic book moments. I like a lot of the characters. I really, really love Adam Strange. Who
Yeah.
I don't think he's an American actor, but he's putting on an American accent. He's the guy who shows up with the Detroit Tigers hat.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love
goes,
that. I love what
yeah.
that character does in the show, and I love that sort of mixing up into the timeline.
Right
And so
on.
it's
Yeah,
great.
no, from everything that I saw, I really, really enjoyed it. And again, like going back to the designs, they just went for those comic book looks.
Yes, but
for
it's
Brainiac
also
and Doomsday, and I'm like,
oh,
dude,
for sure,
that's
yes,
amazing.
but the clothes of everyone else is
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a little Man of Steel.
Totally, yeah.
With the Russell Crowe.
It's got some
a little
influence.
Richard Donner
Yes,
Superman.
Krypton, yeah.
With like the dome and the cities and then it's got a very much like a very Game of Thrones, like sci-fi show that has a budget, but not the biggest budget.
Yeah.
That's being shot overseas. It feels like that. So it has a very lived-in texture, and it's really, really cool.
Yeah, no, I've really enjoyed some of it. It was
Okay,
good. I really liked
Cool.
it.
All right.
Next, we're gonna do a trailer for Amazon's The Boys
okay.
Red Band teaser trailer. This is also based on a comic book.
Yes.
By oh man, what's his name?
Garth Ennis.
Garth Ennis. Yeah,
Yeah.
I almost said
Yeah.
Warren Ellis.
Quick backstory. You remember a long time ago when I told you guys, hey, one of my friends is a producer
on this show.
on this show.
Yep.
I was like, he wants us three to sort of make a cameo. didn't end up happening, but this is the show we were almost on.
Because it still happened? Season 2?
No,
Amazing.
he's no longer a producer on the show. But that's the thing, though. Like he said that there's a moment in the show in which they're flipping through channels, showing people talking about superheroes in the boys' world, and we were talking about the superheroes in the boys' world, and that's what he pitched to them. But it didn't happen.
But thank you for trying.
But thank you, Corey Bird. Thank you for trying.
Thank you so much.
Good buddy of ours.
That's right. I do remember this. Yeah. So that's the kind of the premise of the story. Is like it's a world where superheroes do exist.
Yeah, and they're celebrated, and but they're not necessarily always good, and they're kind of.
I saw a lot of people online talking about this where they're like, this idea has now been done to death.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where superheroes
exist.
were real.
Yeah.
What would it be like? It's like, yes, we can imagine that.
Yeah.
We've done it since 2000.
Yeah.
And even earlier still.
Yeah.
So the show's going to have to do a lot to sort of,
get us there.
Get to be that cream of the crop. I've seen pieces of this trailer, and I think a lot of people were like, damn, this showed up. So, And then Seth Rogen is also another producer on it.
Yeah. Seth Rogen's all over the place, man.
I mean, it would have been cream of the crop if we had showed up.
Agreed. That's
my
your
God.
mistake.
I mean,
Can you imagine if it would have opened with us? Come on. I mean, come on.
Come on.
All right.
I will let you know this is a Red Band trailer.
Yes. Swears.
So there you go.
Do what you will.
Maybe nudity? I don't know.
Nudity.
I don't know if YouTube is
People
going to let
love
us.
superheroes. But if you knew half the shit they get up to.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Fucking diabolical.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Wow.
We're the world's greatest superheroes. And I can do whatever the fuck I want. Huh? Who's up for that? That's where I come in.
Come in to do what?
Heart of a lion, fire inside me blaze like a siren.
Spank the bastards.
Wake up the beast, no I can't keep silent.
How do you spank a superhero?
It's my time, your time is expiring.
Bang.
Sweat and tears, I conquer my fears, I'm ready to fly now.
Boom.
Cool. Cool.
Hands in the crowd, we tearing it down.
What the hell? Oh my God.
Oh, my God.
Damn.
This would have been a great show to make our syndicated premiere on.
That's right.
Come on.
I love Carl Urban
so much.
Carl Urban is such a great actor.
Give me another Dread with him, damn it.
He is a badass. He's so great. He's so all about the stuff that he's a part of. I love how into Trek he is. I'm a huge Trekkie. But he is perfect for this role. He is perfect for being like this sort of voice of the Garth Ennis, very foul-mouthed, shocking Scottish writer that's going to say something about these worlds, the superhero world. So I love that he's been cast in this. It kind of gave me Happy vibes, which is another show by Grant Morrison, another Scottish comic book writer who
Chris Maloney.
That show, Christopher Maloney in Happy.
Oswald,
That show fucked me up. It is Happy is so good, but like not for everybody. It is a preferred taste. And I saw the first season, and I think I might be like, I think this show might be a little bit too much for me, y'all. I'm going to step away from it. I haven't seen season 2. I don't know if I'm going to, but it's great. Christopher Maloney is mind-blowingly good in it, and this looks like it could be that, and I'm going to check it out.
Would you rewatch Happy if it was a commentary? And bring your thoughts to it. What do you think it's like?
I'd with you guys, I would.
Yeah.
I would do it. Maybe it's a Patreon goal.
Hey.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe.
Watch all of us cry collectively.
But I would need to. I never read the Happy comic book, and I still haven't read The Boys, even though my buddy John Ranyotis, our friend John Ranyotis, has let me borrow The Boys for maybe 2-3 years now. A comic book at home. Still haven't read it. I really should get on that. Thank you, John. He gave me volume 1 of the series. He gave me the paperback. Sorry, John. I will get right on that. But now I'm like, well, maybe now I want to watch the show first.
Yeah,
wait
exactly.
until the show comes out.
Exactly.
I really do enjoy the tone. I like, again, because of all these streaming services, and there's now opportunities to explore different tones of superhero.
Well,
and
this
it
is
doesn't
be on
just
Sci-Fi, right?
This is Amazon.
Oh, Amazon.
Amazon.
Right on.
Amazon.
Okay, cool. With the tick.
With the tick, exactly.
Another great show.
So, and I think we now exist in a world where it's not just Marvel, DC.
Right.
We can have all these different types of comics, and some of them come from these companies, but they can explore different tones. And I love that, and I love Carl Urban. I love the look of this. It looks like Amazon put some good money behind this. The visual effects look really, really solid, and I'm kind of down for something that's like ludicrous and grotesque and foul. I don't necessarily want that with all of my superhero movies. Like there are certain DC and Marvel characters I don't want to see that with. Sorry.
Yeah.
But with something like this that is the comic book is sort of that thing,
right.
and you're just adapting that and kind of even leaning into it a little bit more.
Right.
I'm all for that. I think that could be really
absolutely.
fun.
I agree. I keep thinking of missed opportunities, guys. Missed opportunities.
I'm telling you, maybe,
maybe another superhero
I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him.
Maybe he can connect us with another producer.
He's a fan of the show, so
just connect us with Seth Rogen,
he loves K barbecue, so we'll just go and have some K barbecue.
I'll feed him 13 pounds of K BBQ, and he'll want to put me in everything.
Wine him and dine him.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
right.
We'll be like, give us your phone. All right, there's Seth Rogen's email.
With our crazy alien wine.
Yeah, swirling
the wine.
Who do you think you are? You're rankless. Spit my
I will destroy you. Give me your phone.
I will destroy your family name will never have existed. The L family will languish in the Phantom Zone. That's what that show is.
Now I really want to finish that show. Okay, so we're going to go to viewer questions now.
Let's go.
If you would like to participate in viewer questions, you can join our Patreon at the $5 tier, the Hyper Homies tier. Anything above $5, you can submit a question. We're not always going to answer all of them because a lot of times we just get way too many.
Yeah.
But I will do my best to always pick questions from people who have not been heard yet.
And also questions that we have answered 100,000 times.
There were some questions in this week's post, particularly relating to Star Wars that we had answered in the trailer reaction in last week's episode. So make sure if you guys are asking stuff, it's not stuff that we tend to answer all the time because it's less likely that I will pick it. Ask something new, and it doesn't just have to be related to superheroes. It can be related to our careers, things that we love outside of that. There's one question here that deals with something that's outside of superheroes, which I'm excited to answer. So
great.
Please.
You need some dating advice?
Yeah.
We're very unhelpful
Look, man,
in that situation.
I will give you shit advice.
No, I disagree.
I'm just kidding.
You're killing it right now. You're engaged.
Yep.
I'm marrying you guys. I'm like, this is great.
It's
We're
good.
doing great.
It's good.
We're doing
and
good.
you're in a very successful relationship yourself.
Very
Hector.
successful relationship.
There you go, baby.
Very successful
I don't know if it's romantic, but it's very successful.
It's very.
Do we need to have an intervention about how much you work?
The contracts have been fulfilled. Yeah,
it is financially successful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Successful?
Successful. All right.
Okay. The first question comes from a very, very supportive patron and YouTube viewer and commenter, Jamaica Hayes. Thank you so much.
She gets a full blown grito.
Boom!
Just
There you go, baby.
Just for you. That one was just for Jamaica Raquel Hayes.
Jamaica asks, "Hey, Hyper Homies, just a random question that you guys probably have already answered in the past, but whatever happened to each of your wish lists that were always posted in the bio after every episode? Any plans to bring those back? I always love seeing people send you things on your wish list and you guys unboxing them." So we do have our address. Our address is listed in the description of our video. You guys send me your wish lists. I will put them into the description.
Okay.
Oh,
dope.
Right on.
So
right
there
on.
you go.
Cool.
But
Will
yes,
do.
our address is listed below. It's a P.O. box where we have everything sent. We check it almost all the time. If you guys want to send us stuff there, go down in the description. I'll put it on screen as well. But if you have anything, we've had people ask us before, and we've had people send us stuff before.
Yeah.
I think our buddy Chris Hardy from the UK
Chris
sent
Hardy
us some
sent
stuff.
us candy.
Cool.
Candy and
You
beer,
remember that
think,
time
too?
I threw the candy?
That was Christmas.
Because you hadn't seen
Coco.
That
I've
was-
seen Coco.
Okay,
I've
good.
seen Coco. Goddammit.
That was
Orale.
from our boy Hardy, who, by the way, Chris Hardy just had a baby.
He did.
Congratulations,
Welcome
Mr.
to the
Chris Hardy.
family, little hyper
Harrison.
homie.
Harrison
Hardy.
Harrison Hardy, the new hyper homie.
That's right.
Has
Welcome.
just joined the team. Welcome to
Hell
the
of
team.
an alliteration.
That's
right
right.
Oh, right?
Hell of
That's
a
Hyper
dope
homie
thing.
Harrison Hardy.
Love it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, so they will be in the
Adam
description.
Klavick.
What? So you can go down the description. We'll put our wish list in there. I haven't updated mine in a while, but now that you brought it up, Jamaica, I will update it just for everybody else to check it out.
Yep, mine's always updated.
Boom,
Just
bam.
telling Cynthia, hey, look, if you want to buy me stuff.
That's what I do. My family always asks me, what do you want for Christmas? Go to my wish list.
I'm telling you, that's
It's
where
so
I go.
easy.
I'm so terrible. I don't trust anybody in my life to get the things I want.
No,
I'm always
I
like,
don't
I'll just get it myself.
Yeah.
I'll just
I'll just buy myself a Blu-ray.
I'm like, but I want that movie, but you got the wrong Blu-ray that I want. So that I'm a little asshole. I'm
You didn't get the
worst.
3D one? You got the 2D one?
Like, I'm still going to have to rebuy this
I know.
because I can't
My
say
family was
no.
the same thing, though. Or I'm like, here's my wish list. But do you really want this Blu-ray? It's on my goddamn wish list. Yes, I want it.
Yes.
Just give me that thing.
All right, I'll put some stuff
Next question from Derek Turkany, who's a hyper homie. Thank you so much. With the Avengers Endgame 1 week away and Star Wars Episode 9 this December, which one has to stick the landing better to wrap up their respective sagas? Love the channel, guys. Thank you for the great question, Derek.
Avengers.
Avengers.
Because I loved The Last Jedi very much, and if Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, doesn't stick that landing all the way for me, if it's as good as Force Awakens, if it's better, maybe even a little bit worse, we're all used to Star Wars trilogies, the second being the best, like, you know, the Empire being the best, and people are like, Return of the Jedi, it's cool, but I don't like some of this stuff.
Right.
I'm kind of gearing up for that, and it's cool. I love The Last Jedi. I love Rogue One. I love the Star Wars comics. I love, like, I'm happy with Star Wars stuff. Endgame is just, to me, I think it is it's so fun to compare both of these franchises and their, like, impact on pop culture, because I think Star Wars is, like, legacy history, but Endgame is right now. Endgame is 10 years of what they've been building up, and I'm like, if y'all don't stick that landing.
This has not been done in cinematic history.
Yeah.
Like, we're living through an event.
People will be less forgiving.
Right.
Whereas if, again, Rise of Skywalker, people will be like,
I'll wait for the next trilogy.
It's like, Solo's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Solo's cool. It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
And it's fine, but Endgame. That's for me.
Yeah.
I got more riding on that bad boy.
Endgame.
If you would have asked me before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I definitely would have said Episode 9.
Yeah.
Because for me, someone who grew up watching these movies ever since I discovered them in '97, year after year after year after year, rewatching them and really following this entire saga, Episode 9, I think, probably would have been the one that I'm like, you got to stick the landing.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, the fact that Han Solo is gone, Luke Skywalker is gone. We know, unfortunately, sadly, Leia will be gone. We've got Lando Calrissian to sort of fill that void a little bit. Luke will probably be back as a Force ghost. I love these new characters, but I'm not as deeply invested in them as I was Luke, Leia, and Han.
It's not a goodbye. We've had goodbyes.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
whereas this is goodbye to Iron Man, maybe.
Yeah, and you know, so I think for me, that's kind of what takes a little bit away from me for Episode 9. I'm still really looking forward to it and seeing how they incorporate, you know, some of the new things that they've announced. But I think you guys are right. I think the 10-year culmination of the Marvel Cinematic Universe being the first studio to really embrace building an interconnected universe across 22 movies. I think if you, and especially with Infinity War being so damn good, if you come into Endgame and you kind of fuck it up, you're going to blow the steam out of a lot of people's enthusiasm for Marvel.
Second riot.
And
it'll all be just sweaty comic book nerds, and we'll get tired 15 minutes into it,
and then they'll go home.
And we'll all go home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be rough. And I actually thought about this yesterday. I was like,
well, yeah, because you pulled the question, so you
like
thinking about these questions.
What if I walked out of Endgame and it sucked?
Sure.
Look, I don't think it's going to happen. I think they've done all of the legwork to make sure to ensure that that does not happen. The Russo brothers have knocked out 3 great films.
At the worst,
I don't think
this
it's
movie
gonna
will
happen.
be good.
Yeah.
But not great. Like the worst possible scenario is like, dude, it was a solid 8.
Yeah.
And that's still like, that's cool.
Yeah. The worst I can say is I was happy with that.
Yeah.
And Zach and I also talked about it. It is a very interesting point. You know, we look at movies, we look at some of the other superhero movies, or just regular action movies.
Yeah.
And because of the influence Marvel has had on film in general over the last 10 years, like he rewatched Iron Man 3, 2, and Thor: The Dark World, and he rewatched them and he was like, you know what, these are actually not that bad.
Right.
I feel like the Marvel movies, we've set this expectation that if it's not a 10, it's bad.
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
also
if it's not Marvel level good, it's not good. But like you can still not be as good and still be a good movie.
Right. In retrospect, when new Marvel movies came out, like when these movies were first hitting, like with Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Thor, and all this stuff was coming out, you expected all these movies to be like 10, 10, 10, because we didn't know what they were planning with us for Infinity War. Like we couldn't get Infinity War level goodness out of anything because this was coming up. And I'm not saying that people knew the future or whatever.
Right.
But I'm saying that like there is a specific level of, even if the movie wasn't so great, which to me Thor: The Dark World was the worst one, it still builds onto it, and it just keeps rising and rising, and it's the culmination.
And then we get Ragnarok.
All of this stuff. Then you get Ragnarok, but then you get Infinity War, and then you get Endgame. So it's like everything needed to happen for a reason to stack up to this point, regardless of strong points or weak points. It's all moving in the same direction.
And I would say generally, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even some of their movies that are not good, they're still, I don't think they're horrendous films.
Yeah, Thor: The Dark World I haven't seen it yet. It's probably better than the new Hellboy. Like, do you know what I mean?
Oh, Zach said Hellboy was. He walked in and I was like, Hellboy.
Yeah,
I keep hearing real bad
movies
things.
are hard to make. They're super hard to make, and oftentimes movies based on existing things don't turn out great.
Right.
Too many cooks in the kitchen, whatever, what have you. And so even Marvel's worst movie, Thor: The Dark World, like I would rather watch that than Men in Black 3, than you know what I mean, than a lot of big budget blockbuster stuff.
Yeah. Transformers.
Then 4 Transformers movies out of the 6 that they made or whatever. 6, 7? What was Bumblebee? 6? Yeah, exactly. I would rather watch Thor: The Dark World than Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, like that's where I'm at.
Go.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Next question from Antonio Holmes. What up, guys? I'm a big fan and have been watching y'all for 4 years now.
Wow.
Thank you so much for the. That's
Sweet
more or less since when we started. I was wondering who would be your numero uno choice to play Victor Von Doom in the MCU. Let me answer that question real quick.
Yes.
Agustin Rios would be the perfect choice for that.
A guy's my voice.
Which you actually are going to be doing. You actually might be doing that.
My voice is too high to be Dr. Doom.
You actually might be playing Dr. Doom soon.
Yeah. In the Hyper Heroes Hyperdrive RPG.
Yes.
Right?
Really?
Yeah.
So
we got
if
some,
you,
we
so
got
if you guys
some
don't
ideas.
know,
we got some
Okay, cool.
ideas.
Zach didn't say I could tell people this, but I'm going to tell you anyway because
He's gonna be.
he's not here.
mad.
He's not here. At the end of the month, we're doing a hyperdrive as we do
Yes.
every single month on Hyper RPG on Twitch,
In
twitch.tv/hyperrpg.
Playing.
We do RPGs we do hyperdrives at the end of every single month. It's to raise money towards Hyper RPG as a company, to make sure we can keep the lights on, all that good stuff. But we are going to be doing it fully Avenger themed, and we're doing one RPG.
Yes.
Every RPG is going to be fully Avengers themed?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And
They're all
we
gonna
are-
be
We are
different.
doing one.
We're doing one.
Well, I guess I'm not going to
Doom-centric.
be doing my John Carter of Mars RPG.
Not
All
this
right.
month.
Okay,
Not
cool.
this
Next
month.
Okay,
Next
all right.
month.
That's fine.
I
that's fine,
won't
that's
say
fine.
I won't say too much about exactly what's going to be
No plots.
going on.
No plots given away.
But we are doing something related to Endgame, but it's not going to be Endgame because we don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Yeah.
So stick around for more news. And we will
Dope.
definitely be plugging it all the way till the end of the month. It's going to be my first RPG. It's going to be his first RPG. We're not going to reveal who we're all going to be playing yet, but we're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So you should be there.
Yeah.
But who would you like to see
I
play Dr.
need
Doom?
to deepen my voice.
No.
I think we talked about this. I think I ended up settling on John Hamm. John Hamm is like my first
Interesting.
choice right now, just because I feel like
I don't hate it.
he can really ham up the super theatrical version that I want Doom to see. I think
Yeah.
my expectations of Doom come before casting a character.
Yes.
Like I want Doom to be that dramatic little drama queen who's just like surrounded by stone and castle and candles and magic, and he's by himself most of the time. And so I think a person like John Hamm, mainly because John Hamm has that voice and that presence, like he walks on stage and you're like, cool. He's got the shoulder width, which I think is really important for Doom.
the
Like
cape.
he's got to fill in that cape.
Yeah, buckles.
He's got to have big buckles on. He's got to fill out that armor. So
Yeah.
I think he's got everything that it takes to be a good Dr. Doom. But then
Especially
you're going to
because
cover that
Dr.
handsome
Doom-
face.
Right, but especially
with
because
the-
Dr. Doom is very much an other side of the coin of Tony Stark. Iron Man.
Exactly,
So now that
exactly.
I'm thinking John Hamm, Robert Downey Jr., yeah,
Both
they could
good-looking guys.
Play.
Yeah,
They could play off each other.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so
My pick is, my thing is like, could John Hamm do an Eastern European accent?
I think
Ideally,
so.
my number one pick is honestly like a European actor that could do it. I would love for them to really make Latveria the same way that like Wakanda was treated with seriousness, even though it's
Yeah.
a fictional place. They're like, here is what Wakanda represents. The clothing is inspired by different African nations
right,
and
right.
cultures.
Right.
The accents are from like all of that stuff. I'm not saying dig into like the history of Eastern Europe, but really make it feel like Latveria is a real place that exists
Absolutely.
and there's real people and walking around, and
Yeah.
it feels like countries today. It feels like countries a couple hundred years ago.
Right.
Like it all feels like Latveria. There's Doom Castle. Like it's all there.
if they made Latveria look like Prague,
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, like
My
like
man.
like
Yes.
a more like a
Yes.
Prague that wasn't so well taken care of almost.
absolutely.
Just
But
like still
yes.
stone, like it's still kind of
Yes.
grimy, but like it's ancient. And you can envision like vampires living there.
Totally.
I think that would
and
be
the
a perfect-
people that live there, they like love Doom, but you're like, but how is he taking care of y'all?
Controversial
Right,
still,
exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
so
It's a real
that's-
Kim Jong Un situation.
Right. That's what I want it to. That's what I want it to
Yeah.
feel like. If they don't want to land on all that super hard, maybe for like we're not trying to offend anybody per se. I mean, look at how they treated the villain in Wakanda.
Hector, you hate Latverians.
Know,
what are you
they're all
talking
pieces
about?
Of shit.
Yeah.
Latverians are stinky, smelly people. But it's just science.
It's basic science.
Wakanda and Black Panther had like all of the heroic characters be African. The villain was American, Killmonger. And then you have the CIA ally. And Claw, who's normally like the main adversary of T'Challa, Black Panther, who's like this racist guy who kind of represents a colonialist. He was like side piece villain because it's like, you know, you could tell what they wanted to play with and what they didn't want to play with, and I love it and respect it. With Latveria, if you don't necessarily want to say like, hey, this whole country is, you know, hey, this is, but look at how they treated Sokovia. Very similar. See how they made Sokovia feel with the people kind of being taken care of, but not really. It's a lived in place. There's a couple more deleted scenes that flesh that stuff out, and we didn't really get that. But then we saw Baron Zemo's like, you know, fallout of Sokovia and his family and him talking about it. Probably would feel like that. All that to say, if they don't want to do that, my number one pick is Javier Bardem.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Nice.
Similar reasons to John Hamm. He's played a villain before. He can do the gravitas. He's fucking terrifying.
Oh, he's so good at Skyfall.
I think he's super handsome, but kind of not. Like he's this great. Like
depending on the lighting, you're like
he's non-traditionally handsome.
He's this great.
Like, oh, he's good.
He's attractive, but he's not handsome. That's what I say about Javier Bardem. He's attractive.
He's like
as
a
hell.
mysterious kind of
energy is great
to him. Yeah,
he'd be amazing. But Hamm would be great. I would love Javier Bardem. But I would love, honestly, like a Eastern European actor or an actor that's doing that accent.
Yeah. I mean, the person that comes to my mind, I don't think he's the right build or fit for it, but like a Christoph Waltz, somebody like that who has that like European background.
Yeah.
But if I were to think of someone, and maybe this isn't a good fit either, you will probably have an opinion about this, Viggo Mortensen.
Oh, Viggo. So what I love about Viggo is that he's a method actor. He throws himself 100% into everything that he does, dude.
He would be good.
Viggo.
Eastern Promises.
Yeah.
Right. Viggo, before he did Lord of the Rings, knew nothing about Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
And he only did it because his son freaked out when he got the call. His son was like, wait, they just called you for Lord of the Rings? He's like, you have to do Lord of the Rings. And so that's the only reason he did it. And if you watch the bonus footage, Viggo is the most dedicated guy on that screen.
I believe it.
He walked around with his sword in New Zealand because he wanted to feel like the sword was his sword.
Yeah.
And that it never left his side, just like the character in the movie.
He broke his toe.
He broke his toe kicking that skull in that scene, and that's the shot that they kept. Like, he got so beat up, and he lived every part of it because it all added to his character. So if we see Viggo Mortensen as Doom, the only problem is his voice isn't there. Like, Viggo has like
but you can modulate it.
You can modulate it, but
especially once he's in the mask.
Right, exactly. Once he's in the mask, yes, it can really, really change.
He does have a very higher voice.
He has a voice like me. He has like a higher voice. And so I have no complaints about that one either. That's a really good choice.
Damn. I feel good about it now.
It's a good choice.
Now I'm like, oh, actually, though, the actor who played him, Thorne Oakenshield,
Richard Armitage?
Richard Armitage played Heinz Kruger in Captain America. The
First
First
he
Avenger.
did.
But he died in the 40s.
He died, yeah.
You can gas him. Hey, Meredith Quill can come back and play a different actor.
Zachary,
she was also in Captain America.
Zachary Levi can come back and play somebody else, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I want him to be Fandral again.
I know.
The actress who played
Fandral.
Meredith Quill, she was in First Avenger and she's in Guardians.
True,
so it's all good.
That's happened a
bunch
bunch
of times.
Baby? I know. But
okay.
Joshua Folds, thank you so much for the question. Hey, I'm a huge fan and enjoy watching every single week. There was an Endgame spot where Fury is saying, the world needs heroes. And it shows scenes from all 21 MCU movies. It struck a chord with me because, like everyone, I love these characters. What moments in the MCU hit you in the feels?
We all got to pick one. There's too many.
There is too many.
And also, if you want to see more, join the Patreon. Because it's in that special. We talk about
really
all
hit some.
We do.
21 MCU movies,
We
which is crazy.
literally talked about every movie.
I've been rewatching stuff. I have to go to Yondu. The Yondu moment with Peter Quill. And to me, it sums up what both Guardians of the Galaxy movies mean, which is like characters that have dealt with trauma, finding each other and kind of working through it.
Yeah.
The Yondu moment where he was like, he may have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy. It hits everybody, and it wrecks me now every time I see it. And it's a great. And then Chris Pratt's reaction, no. It's such a great, like, I could get choked up just talking about it. I'll pick that one.
Okay.
Adam. Hit you in the
feels. The one for me, I think, which sort of encapsulate and define kind of who Captain America was in Captain America Civil War, where he's fighting Iron Man and he gets back up and he says, I can do this all day.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That callback to the first Captain America was so powerful and strong.
Really good one.
Yeah.
Mine isn't so much of a feels like emotional one, but we talked about it in the videos where Iron Man flies for the first time.
Dude.
Yeah.
Because that
it's
was
emotional.
when
I
mean, I just got goosebumps, and I still get goosebumps because we were living through history at that moment, and it was the first time when I was watching a movie when I was like, oh, I feel like I'm flying with him right now. Jon Favreau did such a good job, and I knew I was watching my childhood dreams come to life, and I was like, this is dope. I want to see all of this happen every time now.
I'm going to cheat, and after Endgame, I'm hoping it's going to be Avengers Assemble.
Yes.
Oh,
dun, 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 with all the rising out of the ashes.
Assemble.
Yep. I cheated. I don't care. I can do that.
He said it. He said it finally.
Oh, I will cry. It'll be fine.
Yeah, dude.
It'll be great.
I will cry.
Yeah. We're going to hold hands and just cry.
Lump in my throat just
Our
thinking
girlfriends are
about
going to be
that
sitting next to each other going like,
It's just 2 words.
Yeah.
I have a feeling Cynthia's going to really feel it.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw up right now.
I've been waiting since I was 5 to hear him say it. Tears.
Oh my God. It'll be great. I can't wait. Built by Steven. Thank you so much for the question. Hyper Homies. Just want to see what non-superhero movies you've been looking forward to this year. Horror, action, thriller, etc. Love the show and keep up all the great content. P.S. Adam, buddy, get some sleep, please.
Get some sleep.
I'll try, man. I'll try.
Tonight,
do my
get
best.
some never sleep.
Tonight's not a good night.
Hobbs and Shaw. Go watch our trailer reaction.
Yeah, right? I know.
We're there.
We're
Day
there.
1.
Yeah. Adam's got a lot of work to do tonight, so sorry, Built by Steven.
Toy Story.
Gonna have to wait.
Toy Story 4. Big one for me.
What am I
huge.
waiting
Toy Story
for?
4.
So action-wise, I'm waiting for John Wick.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that one.
My God.
Animation-wise, Toy Story 4. There's not a lot of other things happening animation-wise.
Frozen 2 later this year.
Not digging Frozen franchise.
I love that trailer. I thought that
what
was
else?
great.
Horror. I haven't heard anything about Pet Cemetery.
I've heard good things about it.
Have you heard good things about it? Okay.
I'm going to go see it this week.
I need to dig in those
bad
reviews.
things about it.
Really?
Okay, interesting.
Okay. What else? Thriller. I think that's really it for me besides Endgame.
Yeah.
I mean, Endgame's been taking up so much of my mental space that I can't even think about anything else.
I know.
But I think John Wick is really kind of like hitting the right notes for me right now.
Look, man, like we did the trailer reaction for it, and when I was narrating over the trailer as the trailer was playing, and he goes, guns, and I went, lots of guns, and then John Wick goes, lots of guns. I was like,
that's it,
I
baby.
fucking love this movie.
I'm
so excited for John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum.
Godzilla looks dope.
Yep.
Rocket Man looks really good.
Yeah, Rocket Man looks great.
I'm
Dexter
excited about
Fletcher coming in to do the movie from beginning to end.
Men in Black International looks
I'm
dope.
actually looking for look, Tessa
Good
Thompson
trailer.
and Chris Hemsworth.
Dude, I just
love
rewatched
them.
Ragnarok. Like,
so good.
They're great.
Come on.
Yeah, I said Toy Story.
Lucy in the Sky is a big one for me. That's directed by Noah Hawley, who is the writer of Fargo and Legion. It's a directorial debut. Natalie Portman, John Hamm, I think, is in that one as well.
I want to go
Zazie
see.
Beetz is in that. It looks great. I cannot wait for that.
July 12th, I want to go see Stuber, talking about Camille Nanjiani and De Batista.
That's the movie.
Okay.
I was telling Zach about that one.
I want to go see that. I want to go see. Got to represent the Latinas. Dora and the Lost City of Gold, July 31st.
Do you want?
That trailer makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, me too.
Why? Why?
We can talk about it later.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll talk about it later. But I'm gonna go see it. It looks like it's basically The Rock's Jumanji, but with Dora.
Yeah.
Which I'm like,
basically.
Also, Jumanji's coming out this year, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That I cannot wait
Michael
for.
Pena is in.
He's in there.
Dora,
Yeah.
and I love me some Michael Pena.
But he plays a dad.
Yeah. Yo, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle was so great.
Yeah.
I'm mad at myself for not watching it in theaters.
Yeah.
It was so fun. I have a few other ones. I saw Missing Link. I really liked Missing Link. Laika's new movie.
Cool.
It was great. I really liked it. It had a lot of heart. It was really fun.
It Chapter 2.
Zach Galifianakis was great as the.
It Chapter 2 is coming out this year.
Yeah.
Oh snap!
It Chapter 2.
Top
there's
of the list.
a lot. There's
Zombieland Double Tap.
Too late.
It's
too late.
well.
Yeah, too late.
But definitely It Chapter 2. I loved It
Yeah,
Chapter
It
1.
Chapter
That movie
1
was
is
so
amazing.
good.
Terminator
Dark Fate. I'm very interested. I'm very interested to see what happens
Sonic
with
the
that.
Hedgehog, because what the fuck?
Hey, sure.
I don't understand where all the hate's coming from, but
it's just
Just because he has muscular legs?
It's one of these things
Detective Pikachu.
Oh, okay.
That I'm really excited
I'm
to see.
I'm very curious about that as well. But Sonic, the thing where like in the Sonic games, it's like it's another world where there's a bunch of woodland creatures to talk. This one is like he's in our world, running around San Francisco.
Yeah, it's like a Smurf situation.
It's like a Smurf situation. That's the thing where it's like, what are y'all
Uncanny Valley kind of situation. But whatever. I'm not a huge Sonic fan.
But yeah, there's
Beautiful
quite
Day
a
in the
few.
Neighborhood. Tom Hanks, Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Sweet Jesus.
Is Midsummer coming out this year?
I don't know what that
new
is.
Ari Aster movie. He was the director of Hereditary, which Hereditary was great. Midsummer looks great too. Actually, Francis Pugh, who was in Fighting with My Family, is in that movie.
Cool.
Okay.
So I can't wait. Yeah, there's quite a few. High Rise, the new Robert Pattinson movie that's just coming out.
Guys, we can't list every movie that's
I'm
going to
about
come
to,
out
damn
this
it.
year.
I know. But there's a lot. There's a lot. Hit me up on Twitter. I will make a whole list for everybody on Twitter. Ashley O'Brien asked, by the way, thank you, Ashley, for the question.
Thank you.
Now that the MCU's Infinity Saga series is coming to an end, what stories would you guys like to see within the next 10 years of Marvel movies?
Again, let's limit this to like 2 apiece. I want to see
Fantastic
a version
Four for me.
of Secret Invasion.
Okay.
And I would like to see a version of Thor bringing Asgard to Earth.
That's a good idea.
Instead of above Oklahoma, instead of Brox in Oklahoma, above Norway. Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah. I want to see Doom War, where Doom takes over Wakanda. And I want to see World War Hulk.
Yes.
But I'll go into that in the Patreon video.
Boom.
I'll give you my theories.
You too.
I'll go into my theories, and I'll convince you why that is going to be a great next series.
For me, it's just Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Just
any other
make
Marvel
a good Fantastic Four
storyline? Any specific Marvel like story arc or event or anything that you're like, oh, the MCU could do this?
I mean, Death of Spider-Man for sure. Like, I want to see that transition to Miles Morales.
Oh my God,
I didn't even
think about that.
That would be.
But I still
want to
enjoy Tom Holland while he's here because he's so good.
Right. Same.
Exactly.
Same.
Agree.
So.
Agree.
And I was also on that train, but now I'm kind of like, well, we got Spider-Verse. Like, I'm kind of happy.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
a live action Miles is
a live action Miles
along
would be
with
amazing.
Live action Kamala Khan, bringing up Monica Rambeau as Photon, who I think is going to be.
But
played
that's
by
the new age of
Sonequa
the Avengers.
Martin Green.
Hopefully,
Yeah. Okay, Joseph Benda.
Joseph, that's just for you, homie. A grito, just for you.
Do you have any spoiler horror stories where someone told you a twist that ruined a movie?
Yes.
What?
I have the worst one.
Which one? Sixth Sense?
No, it was when we were working on what was it? Civil War, Age of Ultron?
It was Age of Ultron.
It was Age of Ultron.
Not
we were
the
working
worst.
on
Not
Age
the
of
worst
Ultron.
one. Not the worst
This is the worst one.
No.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Because it ruined the movie for me.
ahead.
Well, it didn't really ruin the movie for me, but Adam and I, were you working there at the time?
No, I
you
was
were
out.
already gone at the time.
Yeah,
Dipped
you
out.
were
You were dipping
Iron Man
out
3,
of there.
peace.
Adam and I were working on Age of Ultron, and when you work in the movies, you go to dailies. Dailies is where you go check your stuff every day.
In front of the supervisors
everybody
and
checks their shot in the dark theater, and everybody critiques your work and tells you where it could be better, tells you where it could be worse, or where where you could be better. Yeah. And so I was in charge of the scene, or I was in the dailies in which I saw the scene where Vision hands Thor the fucking hammer, and I'm just like, what the. And I refused to go to dailies after that because I didn't want these movies spoiled for me.
Yeah.
I was really upset, and that was like an unintentional consequence of the job.
Yeah.
But it was just like, guys, you guys don't understand how big a fan I am of this shit. I cannot go to these dailies anymore.
Yeah, then you told me, because I wasn't working there, but you still told me that thing. You're like, hey, you want to hear a spoiler? And I was like, yes. And you were like, Vision picks up Thor's hammer. And I was like, awesome.
Son of a bitch.
I was like, perfect. Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
And this was my favorite moment in that movie.
Yeah,
it's still the best.
It's still one of the best.
I don't know if I've necessarily had a moment ruined for me. I can't think of one off the top of my head. I wanted to say maybe Michael Myers and Laurie Strode ended up being siblings, but I think I knew that before I saw the movie, but I don't know if it ruined it for me.
Yeah.
The only thing this is something that's been happening a lot on the internet lately, is there are people who see movies early or get access to movies early, or there are fan events around the world, and for whatever reason, people think it's cool to go into other people's Twitter feed or chat rooms. It's happened in our Twitch chat room, and they spoil shit from movies, and I think it's so unnecessary, and it's so dumb, and if you're just doing it to get 5 minutes of fame, congratulations.
Adam's going to fight you
after
with
5
these
minutes, no one's going to give a shit.
Yeah.
About you. Sorry.
It's because people are sad, and
I know,
and because people don't have like measures of control in their life, and that's one way for them to be like, I have control in this situation.
And I'm going to do something about
all
it.
of this.
Ruin this.
There was 2 moments. It was one, and I had already kind of found this out through a friend who had some intel information on episode 7. They like purposely went into my mentions and were like, Han Solo gets killed by Kylo Ren. And I was like, all right, well, there you go. And then the other one was someone posted a screenshot from a Batman versus Superman screening that Superman gets killed by Doomsday. Now, a lot of people are like, well, Doomsday was in the movie, so obviously Superman's going to die. I'm like, well, not necessarily. They could take it in a completely different direction. They're not exactly adapting Death of Superman.
Right. And we don't know if this is the final version of Doomsday.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So not necessarily that those moments ruined it for me, but it was just irritating to see that like someone deliberately had tried to spoil a moment for me
specifically for you.
Yeah, and I'm like
they were targeting you.
Like why?
Yeah.
What makes you? How does that make you feel good? So not ruined, but just kind of just like why?
Yeah.
So I've done I feel like we've all done this of doing a really good job of just going on Twitter and muting any single word or phrase or hashtag that has to deal with the thing that I'm looking forward to because I don't want people spoiling it for me. So there you go.
Yeah.
You have one? Or you mentioned one? Did you mention one?
No, I didn't. I don't think I did. I don't think
you didn't mention one.
But I mean,
if you have such good friends
lucky.
that,
yeah, I guess I got lucky, and I also tend to, if I ever do see something, and I know what it is or what someone's trying to do, I tend to go, and like move out of the way.
True. Yeah.
And my brain kind of like, because it's
ignores
like
it.
trauma, like
you have a
heals
spidey
itself.
sense. You have a
like
spidey sense
like
for
a
it.
Wolverine healing factor, and I'm like, nothing happened. And
Don't connect the dots.
And then I kind of forget, and maybe if the movie, if I see the movie, and maybe my brain's like, oh yeah, you knew this part. Okay, it tends to not. I don't know. I guess I got pretty lucky.
Well, let's wrap it up with the final question
Last
of the night.
question from Michelle Branya. Thank you so much for the question.
Thank you,
Hyper Homies.
What tier did she?
She is in the
Hyper Homies tier?
Hyper Homies?
No, she is in the Bonjoro tier.
Oh,
thank you very
Bonjoro.
much for the Bonjoro tier. If you don't know Bonjoro, you get personalized messages sent to you every single month from one of us.
Let him go to the Patreon.
Find out.
It's there.
Find out. Michelle asks, Hyper Homies, thanks for always making such incredible content. Thank you very much. Y'all keep me entertained through many late nights and law school essays.
That shit is rough.
I gotta hope so.
You sound like a bad lawyer.
With the first 10 years, with the first 10 years of the MCU wrapping up and many of the OG heroes stepping down, what new stories or heroes would you like to see?
Okay.
Personally, I like to see America Chavez make an appearance in the big screen. So we answered stories. Yes. Heroes.
Characters, heroes. First of all, America Chavez, great answer.
Yeah.
Amazing choice.
I've seen a lot of that. That would be fantastic. I know Danny Fernandez was gunning for the role.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be dope if she got it. But that would be fantastic to see that character and to see the MCU interpret that character because she has a very kind of zany backstory where she's like from another dimension and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like to see the MCU do that would be great. Oh, man, what other heroes would you like to see? I would love to see She-Hulk. That's my other number one. She-Hulk is to me a legacy character / put a Hulk on the Avengers now. And she's a woman, and she's a fantastic female character. While you could still plant the seeds to later get to Amadeus Cho, totally awesome Hulk. But, like, She-Hulk is just a constant. And she's such an Avenger in the comics, way more than Bruce.
Right.
Way more than Banner. Right. So I would love for She-Hulk to at some point make an appearance in the MCU. Adam?
I think I'm just riding the high of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse because I want to see. I love the animation. I love that style. I think it's so great. But there's always going to be a part of me that wants to see that thing in live action.
Sure.
So to see the story of Miles Morales, and especially because Kevin Feige will do something different than Spider-Verse.
Right.
Yes.
It'll be similar, but there will be, I think, huge differences in how they lead into that story, how they tell that story, how the death of Peter Parker will eventually affect the Marvel Cinematic Universe and what it means for Miles Morales, another potentially young Spider-Man coming into this universe. Man. So I want to see all that, and I want to see Donald Glover as the Prowler. I think Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Huggy?
I don't know, man. This is a tough one for me.
I just realized you've been wearing those gloves the whole episode.
No, not the whole episode. Just now, just for the last question.
If you had to pick one, is it Doom or Wolverine? Who do you want to see first?
So that's the thing. I also want to stay away from characters that everybody knows I want to see. Like I'm just trying to rack my brain for different storylines on like different characters that I saw flashes of that intrigued me, but I never really got into. But I think I'm more interested in seeing like a new director's take on a character.
Yes, like we got with Taika.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like Taika, or like we got with Logan.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing different versions of things. And I'm getting flashbacks of the card collection that I used to have as a kid. There was Wolverine like 2099 or something like that, where he was missing a hand.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does Wolverine miss a hand? Like, what's going on?
What happened?
Exactly. And he had it covered with like an adamantium thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on here? Like,
I think that was the Age of Apocalypse. Like
maybe
alternate universe, but
it
was
might
like
have been
future-y.
Yeah. So it might have been something like that, but I think that's more what I want to see, only because like I feel like we've laid good groundwork for like the traditional superhero type stuff. Now I feel like directors might have more of a freedom to create a superhero version that they want to see, and maybe something that not traditionally that we've seen so far, because I feel like we've had pretty good representation across a huge spectrum of a lot of characters that are in the mainstream of comics. So, you know, Wolverine and Dr. Doom have been in movies before, so I don't really want to choose them.
I get that.
Yeah, but you know, let's get some creative people to create different versions of these characters.
I agree.
That's all,
that's
what
I agree, and I think that's the thing that excites me. And there was an interview with Kevin Feige, a really great interview on Variety.
Good. Yeah.
And you know, I think part of the thing that they've always talked about recently, especially, is like, and Lucasfilm kind of the same thing, of like bringing in new talent. You know, going into like the indie filmmaking world and pulling in new people and up and comers and females and just diversifying all that stuff. So it's like, find a really good unknown new up and comer who really has something interesting to say about Doom.
You mean like Ryan Coogler?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like Ryan Coogler?
Yeah.
Oh shit. All right.
Yeah. You know. So that's what excites me about all these superhero movies. It's like not necessarily about making big stories. It's about telling interesting and unique stories.
Right.
And I think you know, you bring in new talent, and new talent will do that.
Yeah.
So, but thank you for the question. We're gonna wrap this bad boy up. Thank you everyone for the questions. If you would like to ask a question on the show every single week, go to patreon.com/hyperrpg. There's opportunities for you guys to ask questions, interact with all the content, get stuff early. There's so many tiers, so many goals. Jump over there, check it out, let us know what you think, and consider being a hyper homie.
You're gonna want to watch this Hyper Snap recap,
pre-snap
recap video early.
Yes,
it's some
There's
good shit.
There's a lot of stuff to munch on.
A lot of goodness.
Yeah.
Hector was a very happy boy when we shot this.
Hello.
But guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. Jump into the comments, hit that like button, subscribe, youtube.com/hyperrpg. Get the podcast on the go, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.